Good morning, everyone. Welcome, bienvenido, to our first Dharma session of 2021. We want to thank you all for coming, and a special thanks to Mac and Sharon from all of us for opening their hearts and making their home our home. We're looking forward to a great year. Also, before we start, I want to say thank you to all the people who made it possible, in spite of COVID restrictions, a place and time, that we had our New Year's Eve celebration, and it was great. And now I know the news from the United States is on everyone's mind, and we're not going to go there. We're going to go Dharma-wise. But with apologies to Leonard Cohen, I would like to say this. This is from his song, the beginning of it, and it's appropriate for the new year. From his song, Anthem. The birds they sang at the break of day. Start again, I think I heard them say. And how does the rest of it go? Because I love it, and ring the bells that can ring, that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. We're very privileged to have Michael here today to give us another one of his great talks. And so I'm going to turn it over to him. Everyone just relax, enjoy. It's going to be a great year. There you go.
Good counsel.
There you go.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Michael. Some of you know me.
Talk loud.
Yeah, let me know is this good volume to talk at?
Yeah, because we don't have very good film.
Okay. This will be a little different satsang. I don't have anything I prepare per se, but some thoughts came to me recently, and I think they might be appropriate. So what we're going to be able to do together is sort of a multi-dimensional experience where we're going to have some experiential things. There'll be introductions, and they're going to be some breath work, just to keep the mind relaxed. There's a start and a finish, so it's going to be a short piece of breath work, and there'll be a guided meditation that won't be very long, and there'll be a mantra that we'll do that also is one of the shorter ones. But between it all, what the invitation is to really let go into this. Some of it might seem new, some of it you might be familiar with, but the idea is to quiet the mind enough so that you can really get the richness of what we're going to do together. And there is a theme, and I'm going to bring it up after we're, in essence, prepared. Okay? Great. Does anybody need to stand up and move from their position before they sit? Okay. Okay, well, let's start with some breath work. And the reason I'm finding this is so important to start any experience, any spiritual practice, is the way it sets you up for what the practice has to offer. If we come in and sit down together and we have a busy mind,
Go get him. Oh, not you. I was talking to the dog.
I think that's her job. Okay. So the breath work is intended to actually make a difference. It's not just a practice that you've heard about. It's going to make a difference if we practice it correctly. So I'm going to explain it first, and I'm going to probably talk through it just so you can keep on the rhythm, and that's it. It's I call it a ujjayi breath kind of work. It's called the box breath, but it's pretty simple. You're going to take always through your nose. In this case, we'll talk about that at some other time, but this exercise is through the nostrils only if you can. And you're going to breathe in slowly for a count of 4. You're going to hold for a count of 4, that breath. And when you hold it, it's not holding on to it. It's let your shoulders relax and hold. Then you'll exhale for a count of 4, and you'll let that exhale hold. Soft in the belly for a count of 4. And that's the cycle. It's inhale, exhale, but there's a hold before and at the end. Yes?
Do you exhale through your mouth?
No.
Through your nose?
I guess it's
Yeah, unless you can't. So the Ujjayi breath is sort of a, I'll demonstrate it. It sounds like this. You're just letting it push out, but you're not forcing anything. But it's not a, it's a soft, sort of restricted in the back of the throat, and then it goes out.
Is it a Darth Vader breath?
You could consider it a Darth Vader breath.
Right. I mean, it sounds.
But nothing is forced in this.
I like it the ocean.
Ocean breath.
An ocean breath.
Ocean
Yeah,
breath is
yes.
another name for this. Yes, very good. Thank you.
Michael, I have a problem. I have a longer exhale than an inhale.
Well, that's because you're exhaling longer.
But I mean, can you do an exhale if it's like that for like, say, count of 6 or 8?
That's actually,
And then in for
yes.
4 and out for 6 or
yes.
8? Okay.
In fact, playing with that, the studies and the clinical trials show that every breath practice can have a different effect. What we're really trying to do, and this will be the last instruction to this, what we're trying to do is hold more carbon dioxide in the system. Now, even though these are going to be just counts of 4, some of us may feel a little bit hungry for air. Don't give in to that. It's not that you don't have enough oxygen. You have plenty of oxygen. You're not going to faint. You're not going to pass out. What we want to do by holding that breath is raise the carbon dioxide level in our system. And you'll understand why once it's complete. So that's how the breath works. The trick, if you have a sense that I need a breath, is relax. Don't let your mind focus on that sense. Just let yourself know that you're not going to starve for air, and for 4 seconds you can do it, and you'll start to get better at it each round. Any questions? Okay. So, if everybody's relaxed, just take one breath in through the nostrils and let it out slowly. And we'll begin. So it's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. I'm sorry, hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale slowly. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale easily. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Final breath. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And take in a breath. Hold. And exhale. Just sit with this. I'm going to introduce a meditation. You can keep your eyes closed if you like, but stay in that space that you've just created and just listen to what's being offered here.
What is time for you? What about you is time? What about you belongs to time? Are you dreaming this? Are you inventing again? For once, don't create. Simply see, feel, be. Be with this. More than talk about this. Be one with this. This is true self-respect. To not allow mind to create the sense of separation in you. You are one. Mind always has something to say, but truly, you have nothing to say. As we come to the end of this session, it should not make any difference to you internally. Just on the surface, things will move into whatever they need to be for the moment. But you stay as the unmoving seer, the undivided one. It takes no effort.
In your own time, when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Look downward at first, not straight out to the world, but eyes downcast. And when you feel your balance, you may look up. This is what we might call a state of altered consciousness. Not necessarily psychedelic. It's just not the way we usually walk around. And yet, that sense of inner knowing, perhaps, that calm or more peaceful state, that's available all the time. Using your breath, using your own affirmation for yourself of where you want to be at this moment. So don't forget that. Make this a familiar feeling. And if you feel dizzy or even disoriented, I don't believe that's really what's happening. You're just accessing an aspect of your consciousness you're not familiar with. This is what the masters feel like all day long. Okay? And we're all masters. We just don't know it yet.
Right.
There's one more piece I'd like to share with you in this vein of shifting consciousness and how it affects us and how we feel. And the theme is actually around a couple of topics, three of peace, empathy, and forgiveness. And with peace, there's a saying, let's make peace. But I don't really believe you can make peace. It's just there. It's part of our nature. But more than that, it's just part of beingness. It's that state that we call peace, of equanimity. Physically, it'll feel relaxed. And I invite everybody just for a moment to think of what you consider a peaceful moment. And it'll probably be something you've done, a quiet sunset you've enjoyed somewhere, maybe off a mountain peak or along the shore. It could be reading a good book on a somber, soft raining day. And you just feel this, everything's just okay. It's at ease. Cuddling a little puppy could do it. Or walking down a favorite trail. And it's that sense of peace. Does anybody have something of their own that they could share that brings them into that field of peace? You're all pieced out. Yeah.
Looking up at the night sky, the stars.
Look up at the night sky.
Very good. So
Just seeing a butterfly, a morpho butterfly, come cruising through. It's just a stop for a second and just be part of that. It always takes my breath away. How beautiful that is.
Yeah, I always thank them when I see one. I thank them for,
Uh-huh.
because I see them.
They're
They're so beautiful.
Yeah. So what I'm noticing and what I think is true is we all have different individual ways to realize peace for ourselves. But it's the same peace. The peace that Mark can feel and Lisa and Mac. It's no different. The only difference might be the depth that you experience it. But it's the same peace that we all share through individualized ways of perceiving. So we're connected in that respect. We're not separate when it comes to experiencing peace. It's one of the unifying aspects of being human. So the mantra I'd like to do with you in the form of a chant, it's the peace mantra. It's rather simple. It's simply Om Shanti Om. Now, Om is probably a word, these are all Sanskrit words that you've heard before, but maybe not everybody knows what Om means. And that's probably because it has no meaning, technically. It's got many names to try to describe it, but by the nature of Sanskrit, it's a vibrational language. It doesn't convey meaning, it conveys a vibration that reflects what we might put meaning on. So in the case of Om, one of the simpler ones, it's simply the union of the masculine and feminine. And I don't mean the man and the woman, the energy field.
Energies.
We could call it the positive negative, omega and the alpha. It's that aspect of being that has no sense of separation. It's only about union. And it's the reason that Om, aside from being chanted often, generally precedes and ends any type of spiritual practice. It's to bring in that sense of union and to close still in that union. Shanti means peace, the vibration of peace. So what we're going to do in this short 4-minute mantra is practice it, feeling erect in our body so the energy can move freely up and down the spine. Even with masks on, I'm going to invite you to voice it as best you can so that you're
Okay.
feeling the vibration. So you don't have to be timid with it, and really find that vibration through your voice. If you don't want to do that, you can accept just the energy that's being generated, because it's going to go out into your field as well as in. The mantra is going to be led by Deva Pramal, so it's a recording. And I think that's going to cover it if there's no questions. What I'd like us to do, and I believe we can, is just kind of dive deep into this. No thoughts about how you sound or what you look like or any of that. Just let that significant feeling that we just discussed of peace, whatever that might feel like, let Shanti bring that into you. And let the Om unify it for all of us. So if you're ready, take a nice slow breath in. And I will find playlists. Okay. Om Shanti Om. Let's just sit with this for a moment. Let it be. You can stay just where you are, as you are. I'm going to read a short piece of prose in tune with the theme, starting with peace. Now we can move on to empathy. This is by Stephen Taylor. Without empathy, we see enemies everywhere. We feel threatened by strangers when they come close. We strengthen our defenses and protect our resources in case others try to steal what's rightfully ours. But with empathy, we see brothers and sisters. When strangers come close, we sense kinship. We embrace them and open up our lives to them, knowing they're entitled to share what's ours. Without empathy, we feel incomplete. The goal of our life is to accumulate, to build an empire, to claim ownership of the world so that one day we might feel whole. But with empathy, we feel no sense of lack. The goal of our life is to contribute, to alleviate suffering, to help heal the world, and strengthen our connection to the whole. Without empathy, the world seems full of separateness. The closer we look, the more separateness we see, and the essence of reality appears to be tiny, solid building blocks of matter. Again, with empathy, the world is a unity. The closer we look, the more connection we see, and the essence of reality reveals itself as a vast space of formless oneness. Without empathy, other human beings are objects, machines made up of inert materials that we can use for our own ends and discard once they have no more use. But with empathy, every person is a universe, a mysterious spiritual space full of unknown forces and energies that we feel privileged to explore. Without empathy, the ego has a solid boundary. We live as prisoners, trapped inside ourselves, and the torment of our isolation is redirected at the world at times as hatred. But with empathy, the self is soft and fluid. We are part of the world, and the world is part of us. And through our openness, like a river through a channel, we feel an endless flow of love. Like a river through a channel, we feel an endless flow of love. Well, this reminds me of a story. So there was this fellow walking in the country on an open road, and he comes across a large flock of sheep. And he sees the shepherds there with them, so he walks up to the fence and he says, "Excuse me, sir, that's a mighty fine flock of sheep you have there. Do you mind if I ask a few questions?" He goes, "Oh, no, sure, go ahead." He says, "Well, I'm wondering, how much grass do these sheep eat in a day?" And the shepherd replies, "Do you mean the white ones or the black ones?" And he says, "The white ones." He said, "Well, the white ones eat about 3 pounds of grass per day. And the black ones? They eat about 3 pounds too." He said, "And how far do they have to walk to eat that much grass?" And he says, "Well, do you mean the white ones or the black ones?" And he says, "The white ones." He says, "Well, the white ones will eat about, or walk about 3 miles to eat that much grass. And the black ones? Well, they'll walk about 3 miles too." "And when it's shearing time, how much wool can you expect to get from these sheep?" And the shepherd says, "Well, do you mean the white ones or the black ones?" He says, "Well, the white ones." He goes, "Well, the white ones will produce about 10 pounds at shearing. And the black ones? Well, they produce about 10 pounds too." Now, the passerby was a little taken back, and he says, "Excuse me, sir, but you have this curious habit of always separating the black sheep and the white sheep whenever I ask you a question." And the shepherd responds, "Well, that's only natural. You see, the white ones are mine." "Oh," says the stranger, "and the black ones? They're mine too." So, thanks to Ram Dass for that little story.
He loves that kind of thing.
But the reason it's pertinent is I think it reflects how we all tend, or have a tendency to, see the world. That we separate other from another, just like us. And every time we separate, we lose a little something. We're distancing ourselves from that which we also are. And that can be difficult. In life, the way that can show up is somebody may, in the expression, do you wrong, or they do an action. And depending on the quality of it, you may come into a state of, well, I can't forgive that. That's unacceptable. And that's the question. If you're coming from peace and you can relate to empathy, is there anything that can't be forgiven? And somebody may have an example, and I'd be happy to hear it.
I don't have an example, but I'll tell you another joke of Ram Dass's. Somebody reminded me of this not long ago. Ram Dass, at one point, he said, "You know, he said, I got hooked on Christmas trees," and he had an ornament. He said, "I got hooked on Christmas trees when I was a child." And he stayed hooked on Christmas trees his whole life. He said, no difference between religions. I got hooked on the Christmas tree. Oh dear. He was a character.
I have a story about forgiveness.
Yes.
There's a famous...
Speak up, because
Oh, sorry.
You can take your mask off. Yeah.
There is a story about 2 prisoners of war, and many years later they meet in a bar or restaurant. They haven't seen one another since the war, and they're having a beer, and the one says to the other, "Have you forgiven our captors?" And the second one says, "Hell no, never." And the first one says, "Then you're still in prison."
Yeah, they still got you.
I missed the last couple words you said.
Then you're still in prison if you haven't forgiven.
I'm going to read to you a definition. Just see how these two land. One's for empathy and the other is for forgiveness. So empathy and I might add that these two seem to only apply to human beings. So we may be the only life form on the planet that can have these experiences. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. So you might check in for a moment. Have I ever experienced that? Have I ever felt I could understand and share the feelings of another? Because when you can, the separateness, the gap closes. And to forgive, this one surprised me, but it's quite correct, I think. The conscious, deliberate choice to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness.
It's important. It's very important.
Very.
Because we forgive not so much for the other person, but for ourselves to be relieved of the toxicity of resentment or anger.
Can you all hear what Ruthie's saying? We forgive for ourselves to get us off the hook.
That's right.
But in
To
doing
relieve
so,
ourselves.
it frees everything.
Everything.
Gives us the ability to move forward. And when I gave this some thought, I saw a small little circle. So from the state of peace, how we started with the breath, we did some chant, we created this field of peace, the vibration of peace within ourselves. From that field, that would beget empathy, because now you have a place to bring it forth from. And from that empathy, you begat forgiveness, that release of anything that got stuck. And once that is released, you're back in that state of peace again. And it just flows like a hoop through life.
Very good.
I just wanted to say, you said humans only, but I think animals, I mean, I've definitely experienced animals being empathetic, especially like if you're sick and your cat comes up to care and nurture you, recognizing that you're not feeling well, for example. And I don't know, dogs sure seem willing to forgive everything. You know,
Well,
they
that
don't
is-
hold a grudge.
that's their
You
nature.
know? It's
No,
their nature,
I
yeah.
think the difference is to have a grudge and then consciously say,
Let go of it.
let,
Yeah, they don't
I
get one
really-
in the first place.
they don't have to, yeah. But thank you.
Yeah.
I've seen that as well. Well, I think we're coming close to our closing time. Is there any burning question or something that someone would like to share that would be
Other than bad jokes.
right?
Neat.
Well, if you're good with that, I encourage you that breath work can be amazing. To move from sympathetic, parasympathetic state. It's great for the nervous system. It has untold of and soon to be known other great benefits for healing. So it's easy. You can just do it anytime. And I recommend it before you do any type of meditation, just to set up the vessel. Okay. Well, Ruthie,
Yeah.
would you guide us in the
I
closing?
think, yeah, I think that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Michael.
I think that is the real virtue of any kind of ritual, is the setting up to be able to go into this. And the more often you do that, the easier it becomes. Because I don't think rituals themselves are the important thing. I think it's what happens within you as a result of being able to enter that space. But Michael, I didn't know what he was going to talk about today, but he very much touched on what I'm planning to say when I give my first talk next week, and I'll throw out one thing with it for you to think about in the meantime. I've been thinking a great deal about the Costa Rican national saying of Pura Vida, pure life. And I believe Pura Vida is extremely spiritual in the sense that it is a bridge between the conditioned life that we live every day and the unconditioned nature of all spiritual work, which is universal unity in the universe. So that just it's that gap between not liking someone and loving them, between the things that we have to deal with on a conditioned basis and what we do when we forgive, when we feel empathy for their situation, etc. But it's a beautiful saying, Pura Vida, and I, as you know, have stayed immersed in the loving kindness aspects and compassion of the Dharma all these years. But the metta that we're going to say now is a conditioned metta. It says, I wish this for you. That's a conditioned metta, as because I wish this instead of that. See, it's not either or, which is dualistic. And spirituality is unified, it's non-dualistic. Pura Vida, when you think about it, is totally non-dualistic. It embraces the bad, the ugly, the criminal, the insane, whatever. It embraces them as much as it does the conditioned, everyday response. We have to work with both. And as my daughter said recently, well, it's not the knowing that's a problem, it's the applying. So we have to, if we can keep that as a mantra, Pura Vida, every time we get into something that, we need to make that bridge from conditioned to unconditioned. That we can say that as a little mantra. Well, Pura Vida. Anyway, that's my talk for next week. And now we're going to do a loving kindness.
Yes.
We have time?
Yes.
Okay, everybody, do we have new people here? Do I need to explain it?
Dennis. Yes.
All right, Dennis. In Buddhism, loving kindness is known as metta or maitri. It is considered the sublime dwelling for your spirit. And we're going to choose 5 people. You begin with yourself, then you go to someone you love, then you go to a neutral person, then you go to a person with whom you are in conflict, and then you go to everyone everywhere. This is an exercise in expanding away from the ego, outwards, 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 to experience just what Michael was talking about, with the empathy, with loving, with the unconditioned. It's unconditional love and friendship. So I'm going to say a phrase, and to yourself, repeat it after me. And try to feel it, try to mean it, let it sink in. Okay, Sharon, if you'll give us a ding dong. Please take a deep breath or two, relax, and say to yourself, may I be well. May no harm come to me. May I live with ease. Dennis, that's equanimity or balance. May I live with ease, calm and peaceful. May I be happy. And now, bring to mind someone you love dearly with all your heart. Say their name, smile to them, and say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Now we move one step farther to someone whose name we may not know, but there's someone that we're familiar with. Someone who waits on you, or perhaps a neighbor that you pass on the road when they're walking and you just wave, but you don't know who they are. And you will say to them, if you do not know their name, friend. Friend, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. And now, you turn to someone with whom you are in conflict. Maybe it's a very, very old conflict. Maybe it's even a conflict for a whole group of people for whom you inherited a grudge. Maybe it's one person. Give it to one person. And to that person you say with all sincerity, without any malice whatsoever, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Then we move on to the whole universe. And we put our hands over our hearts. And we think of billions of sentient beings on this planet, and however many there are spread out all across the cosmos. And to this phantasmagoria, we say, may all beings everywhere, on this plane and all other planes, be well. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be happy. And now we let this feeling sink in. We try to carry forward the atmosphere that Michael created today. We try to carry forward from here the emotional well-being and health of loving kindness. And with that, we'll have our benediction, which is go in peace, go making peace, living gently, loving mightily, and bowing to the mysteries. Thank you all very much. Oh, and I thought of the lines I forgot in my senior moment. It's the birds they sang at the break of day, begin again, I think I heard them say. Do not dwell on what is past, nor what is yet to be. Ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering, There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And Michael, thank you so much for a really great talk. And for a good new year.
Thank you.
Please, between now and next week, think about Pura Vida, and we'll talk about it some, because it's really kind of impressed me that we live in a country that would